Turn to Senator Sherrod Brown. He's a Democratic senator from Ohio, joins us now from the Hill in this break. Senator, thanks for the time. You're listening to these closing arguments. Sir, what's your take as they're making this case?
Well, my take is still, he talked about John Bolton for the first time, but still no witnesses. And I'm not a lawyer. Some of your viewers are, most of them aren't. I know, though, that when you have a trial, you have the prosecution, the House managers, you have the defense, the president's lawyers, and you have witnesses and testimony and evidence. And it's not really a fair trial if we don't hear witnesses. And I just can't imagine tomorrow that anybody would vote against bringing John Bolton in. I mean, he was a high-ranked official. He was hired by President Trump. He was actually in the room. The president says this is all hearsay. But Mr. Bolton was actually in the room as the chief of staff and others, and we should hear from people that saw it and heard it.
So, Senator Brown, you know, the flip side of that argument, this is Martha McCallum here, good to have you, is that then that triggers the request for other witnesses. Republicans feel as though it was all on the Democrat side in terms of witnesses in the House, and they're not going to open that can of worms unless it can be reciprocal, and they get to bring in their own witnesses as well. Are you okay with that?
Sure. And I think Martha, the best way to do that, I'm okay with any witnesses that are material, that have something to say because they have knowledge of what happened. And I think that determination can be made by the Chief Justice. I mean, I don't agree with very many decisions this Chief Justice makes on the court. That's really beside the point. We know he doesn't lean to the Democrats or lean to liberals or lean to progressives. But what I would like to see is any witnesses suggested that the Chief Justice makes a decision. Is this witness material to this case? And the reason for that is you just don't want dozens and dozens of witnesses that are just going to take up time.
Are the Bidens relevant then? Would you consider them relevant?
I think it's would the Chief Justice consider them relevant. I'm not going to debate on which witnesses. We know the ones that were in the room. We know Bolton has been part of the decision-making processes and in the room. We know that Mulvaney was. We know that a number of others who have been named in the trial from both sides were actually in the room or part of these decisions or in the process leading up to the July call and after. I just don't understand why the president says it's all hearsay but doesn't want people who actually heard it to talk. I mean, I just don't. I'm not a lawyer, as I said, but I don't understand how you do a trial without. If you're doing a trial in Cuyahoga County, Ohio, or Richland County, Ohio, no judge would want to conduct a trial where there aren't witnesses and not evidence.
Senator, the Republicans would say, why did the House managers bring up Biden and Burisma hundreds of times in the original presentation, opening the door, essentially, to call Hunter Biden as a witness in this case? They say that that's important on their side. If, according to Senate rules, it's not the Chief Justice who makes the call, but the vote of you, the senators, you're okay with that vote going down, even though Republicans have the majority?
Yeah, sure, Brett. Let them vote on it. I would guess if Mitch McConnell really wanted Hunter Biden, he'd get 51 votes from the Republican side, maybe some on the Democratic side, I don't know, to bring him in. So, yeah, if that's how they want to do it, I don't care so much about those witnesses that might be witnesses that would embarrass a Democrat running for president. I don't really much care about that. What I care about is the truth, and the way to find the truth is to get people who were in the room, to get people that heard this, to get people that can shine a light on what actually happened, because we haven't seen witnesses like that.
I want to ask one more thing. You mentioned, and we've got to get you back in the room, Senator. We know that. You mentioned the election. There's a new poll out this morning, ARG poll out of New Hampshire, that has Senator Sanders up 15 points on Joe Biden. He's up several points in the latest Iowa polls. What do you think of the Sanders campaign and the possibility that he looks strong in these early states?
Well, Bernie, we've seen, I mean, Elizabeth Warren was ahead for a while. Biden's been ahead much of the time. Now Bernie's surging. It's all the timing. Frankly, I mean, you may not believe this, but I don't think a whole lot about that. I have a job to do here. I think impeachment needs to have the focus of all of us, presidential candidates or not. There was no question any of these candidates were going to come in from the road and be here. They'll be here as long as we need to be, to as many witnesses as possible. No, I have no regrets for not running. I love this job. I could not have done my job in the Senate well if I was on the presidential campaign trail. I'm I'm fine with the decision I made back in February, early March.
A few of your colleagues are struggling with that balance right now, as Iowa is about to be on Monday, and you all are there. Thank you very much, Senator Sherrod Brown.
Thanks,
good to see you today.